It is undeniable now. The New York Mets have a serious problem with this team, and it is not looking like it is going to get better. And because of that, we are going to have to turn to David Stearns to make some serious changes and adjustments to this team on multiple levels because right now the Mets are having a very underwhelming season. Now, obviously, injuries to Juan Soto and a nagging injury to Jorge Polanco is not helping anything. We understand that. The fact that Bo Bichette had a slow start did not help. Marcus Semien struggling to hit the ball isn't helping. Ditto for Francisco Lindor. But with all that in mind, none of that has really been as big of an issue. Actually, well, it has been a massive issue as well. But one of the biggest issues is the fact that the Mets, they went into this new season with one big pitching adjustment. Freddie Peralta, who I like. I have nothing against Peralta, but there are players who there have been serious problems with. That happened last year, and the Mets did nothing to rectify it, and they basically considered it bad luck and hoped that things would change this year. And spoiler alert, it didn't. And guys, also as well, make sure to subscribe to Mets Digest if you're part of that 74% of viewers watching right now who are unsubscribed. We're closing in on 7K. It's completely free to do so. We do have videos coming out on the Mets every single day. We are locking in. We're on that grind right now. But when it comes to the Mets, man, there is a serious, serious problem. And it's not just one guy. It is two different pitchers. Now, we're going to start with the one who there's been the most turmoil about. That's Kodai Senga. The first year Senga was with the Mets, I mean, the man was a star. He looked like one of the best pitchers in the MLB, potential ace type player. And then the next season, he pitched, 6 innings because he was dealing with injuries. Following season after that, last year, he started out looking like the Cy Young. Things looked good. It's like, oh, great. Senga's healthy again. We're good to go. He started dealing with a bit of a nagging injury and then was completely and utterly unpitchable. So much so that it felt like there was literally nothing that could be done to help. And since July 21st now, Senga has an ERA of 6.70. So now it's a big enough sample size. Be like, oh, okay. This is a really, really, really serious issue that we are not controlling, guys. But something you can control is your picks on Prize Picks, guys. Thank you to Prize Picks for sponsoring this video today. Prize Picks is the #1 sports picks app in America where you can get in on all of the action. When you play $5, you can get 50 instantly in lineups when you download Prize Picks and sign up using code DIGEST. But let's get back into the video. We'll get into some picks later on this video as well. But when it comes to Senga, look, the sample size is big enough. There's an issue at hand. The man, he's not really getting the strikeouts that we hoped he would get. He's not, I mean, his hits per 9 innings are a 10.15, which is not very good at all. Again, the 6.70 ERA is up big on the screen for a reason. A 1.71 whip is not exciting. Right now, what we are seeing is a man who is struggling to pitch. And no, things have not been better this season at all. Senga has a 7.07 ERA, so, worse, if anything. And then, look, he's got 19 strikeouts in 14 innings. That's not bad. The 1.714 whip is still terrible, and this is in 3 starts now. So it's no longer like, oh, well, maybe it's just a bad start or two. Nope, it's 3 starts, and he hasn't looked good. I don't know what's going on. First one was good. Since then, things have taken a turn, and it's getting to the point where more of Senga's games now have been bad. Yeah, he had a tremendous 2024. Nobody is arguing that. That is now 2 seasons ago and does not affect the New York Mets right now in any sort of positive way. If you remember 2 seasons ago, Justin Verlander was on the Mets. Feels like that's been forever ago, right? Yeah, that was actually 2023. So that's something, but still, it still applies. It still applies. And Senga, he's spoken about these issues as well. I mean, he said when it came to his last game, he said, in times like this, I think it's really important as the starting pitcher to get the team off on the right foot. However, I wasn't able to do that. So that's regretful on my end. He also said, I think the biggest thing is I wasn't able to control very many pitches near the strike zone or over the plate. No, you weren't. This was on April 11th. That was Senga's last start, and it didn't go well at all. He had probably the worst start of his entire MLB career. In fact, statistically, it was. Now, as DeComo mentioned, the final was 11-6. The Athletics won. Now, the game was close. Luke Weaver had a bad outing. Luke Weaver's been solid for the most part outside of. He's been good outside of that, to be honest. And as DeComo mentioned, the Mets made things close for a while, but they couldn't overcome their cavalcade of early mistakes and an ugly performance at Citi Field. It dropped them to 7-8. and a 4-game losing streak, and things just did not go well whatsoever. Now, Carlos Mendoza also talked about the struggles that Senga has had as well, saying he didn't have much, starts with fastball command, and he just didn't have it. He kept going to that sinker to get back in counts or to get a strike, and he didn't have a feel for his pitches. Overall, just getting behind because the command wasn't there. Now, Philip Martinez of MLB.com also said this. In spring and his first two starts, Senga's fastball was in the high 90s. On Saturday, he was hovering around 93 to 94 miles per hour. The Mets skipper acknowledged a dip in velocity, but when asked whether Senga was affected by having to pitch on a regular rest, which Senga hasn't done consistently since coming to the majors, Mendoza pointed out the off day that he gave his starter as an extra day of rest. He just didn't have it on Saturday. And when velocity isn't there, location becomes more important, and the lack of it played a big part in the game-altering third inning. With the Mets down only 2-1, Shea Langeliers doubled and Tyler Soderstrom homered to give the A's a 4-1 lead. Consecutive singles and a one-out home run by Carlos Cortez capped off the 5-run inning and Senga's day. In the second and third innings, where all 7 runs were scored, Senga had to throw 54 combined pitches. He was asked if those long innings made it difficult to find a rhythm. Senga didn't use it as an excuse, but said he wants to learn from the start. It's important to note, and Senga's right about this, and there's no problem. He did say that it is hard when you throw back-to-back long innings. It's gonna mess you up, and he's right. And he wasn't making an excuse out of that. He was just saying that that's what happens, and that's what he was doing. And no surprise, it was an issue. Now, Senga's numbers on Baseball Savant, I mean, they could be worse. Don't get me wrong. There's stuff that's decent. The strikeouts are there. The whiff percentage is pretty solid. The off-speed run value is in the 78th percentile of the league. That's not bad. But the breaking run value is in the 18th, which is a just truly awful, and the fastball is in the 28th, which is bad. And overall, when we look at him, he is in the 29th percentage of pitching run value, which, is not good, and not what you want out of Kodai Senga. And if that's happening, well, then the Mets have a serious problem, because then it comes down to two people. It comes down to just Nolan McLean and Freddie Peralta, because, in case you were wondering, David Peterson has not been good either. Look, Peterson was someone who had a great start to last year. I mean, the man was literally an all-star. Yeah, there were some replacements involved and stuff, but it still stands. He was an all-star. We were expecting a solid year. Just overall, what happened was, well, frankly, he fell apart, and he hasn't gotten it back. Similar to Senga, who had a rough go. It took Peterson a little bit more to fall down a hill, but, well, he has an ERA of 9.39 since August 30th of last year. Pretty big sample size, and he is not doing well, allowing 13.85 hits per 9 innings, which is just absolutely hideous, and truly, it's been terrible. I mean, there's no other way around it. You can't even dance around it. Look, Peterson has a 6.41 ERA this season in 4 starts. He's got 21 strikeouts with 19.2 innings, which is not terrible, but the whip of 1.831 is certainly terrible. Right now, the Mets pitching is not giving anything to this team, and there's only one option. David Stearns has to make a trade. He does. It doesn't have to happen today. It doesn't have to happen tomorrow. It's early in the season. It's tough to make trades. I understand that. I'm not against that. I get it. I do. Believe me. I understand it's not the easiest time to go out there and get things done and get deals done. I completely understand that. But it's going to happen at some point, and some point sooner rather than later, if we're being honest. The Mets are below 500 on a team that they just spent a lot of money on, that went out there and was planning on having a bounce-back year and looked like they were going to be competing for winning the NL East. And, well, they haven't been, and there's really no other way to say it, but if this keeps happening, you start to look at Mendoza, you start to look at Stearns and think, hey, I don't know if you're the guy to get this done, man, because right now nothing is working. And I mean, I don't understand how Peterson and Senga had such bad ends to last year, and the Mets acquire Freddie Peralta, and they call it a day. Like, I just don't really get it. It felt like it was obvious to anyone who would have watched the Mets at all that, this was very possible to happen again, that these guys would continue to struggle. And instead of doing anything about it, the Mets did absolutely nothing. And now that's coming back to haunt them, which is not surprising me at all. And I think a lot of us are not surprised by it. And you start to wonder that maybe it is David Stearns' fault and that he should have done more. I mean, look, the obvious answer to bring a new face into the team is you call up Jonah Tong. You hope the Tong has something. I know he did not have a great run of it last year in the 5 games he had, but he's young. That was a weird time to call him up, but there was really no other options for the Mets whatsoever. I think you got to do it because something's got to go. You got to do something, man. You got to do something because right now this has been atrocious. But guys, before we do wrap it up, I do want to once again I want to thank Prize Picks. I can't speak. Because when you download Prize Picks and you use code DIGEST when signing up, you play $5, you get 50 instantly in lineups. And let's get into some picks. We're actually going NBA this time around right now because, look, as a lot of us who follow the Mets are, we're Knicks fans. The New York Knicks start their playoff journey with the Atlanta Hawks, and that happens at 6 p.m. on Saturday in New York, and I am taking Mitchell Robinson to get more than 13.5 points, rebounds, and assists. The reason I am taking this is because Mitchell Robinson only played around 19.5 minutes per game last season. Now, Mitch is going to play more because it's the playoffs, and they were trying to save him for the playoffs because he's injury prone. So he'll probably play around 25 minutes against the Hawks. And Onyeka Okongwu, the Hawks center, is 6'10", and Jock Landale is not a great rebounder, and he's their backup center. So I imagine Mitchell Robinson should be able to get 8 to 10 rebounds. That just leaves him to get 4 points and assists combined, and I do think he can get more than that. The most open threes do come off of offensive rebounds and kickouts, so it should get him at least 1 or 2 assists, and even so, he might get more than 10 rebounds because the man is he's the best offensive rebounder in basketball. I'm also taking Josh Hart to get more than 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Josh Hart is always best in the playoffs. This is a guy who averaged around 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. So already right there, it's over that 22.5 points, rebound, assists. So it would be more than that. So I do really, really like the idea of both of those as picks for the upcoming Knicks game. Let's go, Knicks. Let's see you guys make a run because, hey, we've entered a weird area where the Knicks are New York's only hope to a championship. So please get it done, Knicks. Also, subscribe to my channel, Knicks Digest, if you guys haven't. I know a lot of you guys are, so I do thank you for that. But if you do want to hear more about the Knicks or the New York Jets, go and look up Knicks Digest and Jets Digest. Knicks Digest. It's a channel you will see the most of me on. It's the first channel I ever got on with YouTube, and it has spiraled into all this and me working the best damn job that I could have ever asked for and living out my high school dream, not necessarily childhood, but kind of like high school, around 15-year-old me. That was when I wanted to do this, and hey, it's working out. We're having fun. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. I'll catch y'all later.